We are live.
Good evening, Internet.
Hello, everybody. So we just moved across from that appear.in thing. We already started talking some. John, you want to continue in quote
The
moderating?
Okay. This discussion is primarily on the focus of being educational, based on the fact that laws are very tedious to read through as one individual person. In this instance, the Trinidad and Tobago Cybercrime Bill 2017, I believe, is a revision of the Cybercrime Bill from 2010, which was the last time that it was done. It's a total of 35 pages. Personally, I have not read much of it. I've read the first page on the actual bill, and thankfully, a community member, Obika, did a nice summary, which I was able to read through. Also of note, the Trinidad and Tobago Computing Society has had a meeting last week, Wednesday, to discuss the bill, as well as they have up a document, which we're sharing in the Hangout. That is for comment from persons within the Computing Society and whoever has access to the link. The deadline for submitting comments is Friday the 19th, which is this Friday, I believe. And having this discussion to educate ourselves and each other on how the cybercrime bill affects us as persons in the technology field of Trinidad and Tobago. That's a long intro, but here we are. Take it away, Lasana.
Take it away.
I'm not sure where you want to take it, but
Okay.
points to note.
Well,
what is the trickiest part of this bill?
Yeah. So whoops. I was just about to welcome our one viewer, but we're back down to zero. I said,
just before you go, which Facebook page you share the link in?
Just now. I was doing the whole intro before. But yes, I shared it on Caribbean Tech Forum, and I'm going to share it on the Slack community now.
And Caribbean developers as well.
Sure thing, will do.
Caribbean Maker Group.
Everybody?
Natalie, you could probably put it in dynamic business speakers.
I had
Everybody
not in that
one. Natalie, I was speaking to with that one.
Okay.
So where is here currently?
Could you repeat, Agri?
Where is it shared currently?
Caribbean Tech Forum.
Yeah, also if you're just looking for the links, there's a chat on the side where I have posted the YouTube link where they could use the view, and the link in the browser address bar, which I'm posting now. You could share that for people to join. It's in the chat dialog at the right hand side if you're on a desktop or tablet.
Right.
So, like I said previously, on my end, I have only looked at reached up to page 17. Sorry, I have in the past, like I was saying, probably about a year ago, was trying, not with any great deal of effort, but was trying to get people in the so-called community a little bit interested in the potential passing of this bill, as well as the one that had much controversy. I think the SSA bill, SSA Act, or whatever, that was related to basically, the state power that would have the ability to essentially spy on citizens in order to solve crime and stuff like that. In general, like I said as well, it's the language seems a lot more consumable than what I am accustomed coming across when it comes to our local legislation. I saw in the Computer Society's comments, and I should mention that you can submit your comments directly to the ministry as well, the Attorney General's office. But in their comments, I saw they mentioned that the fines were kind of hefty, and I agree with that 100%. And I would also draw back to that other bill that I still can't remember the official name of, but I actually attended a session in UE with the Attorney General. I was one of the speakers, and they had a panel, and that was also some of the issues in that particular piece of legislation as well, because the way that they worded certain things, computer crime actually qualifies as a serious crime, because the definition for serious crime, I could never remember the actual years properly, but basically any crime that carries, I think, either 5 or 10 years or something like that is considered a serious crime, and that has certain consequences. And some of the length of time they wanted to some of the offenses under, I believe, that act relating to computers, or probably this act itself, were kind of hefty. But I saw, so far what I'm seeing is like 3 years and that kind of thing. So I guess they probably reduce some of that. But then you still have some sections that carry like a $500,000 penalty, and in the case of critical infrastructure, $2 million and that kind of thing. So I would actually love to know how they arrive at the figures that they put in for fines.
They picked it out of a bag, or maybe they took it in regards to the change. I think the most visible recent change would be the traffic laws. I noticed they changed the value amount, put it in fractions there. So maybe they're trying to reflect that.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea. This is a completely black box to me in terms of how these laws are drafted. Not to bring the politics into it, because I am in neither party's pocket, but in 2010, when we had that regime change, the previous government, right before they started going horribly south, they had an actual budget consultation process where they invited people to come up to the Ministry of Finance to give input into the drafting of these some of the budget. Their first budget was. I don't think they took much of the recommendations into I don't think that they took much of them into actual consideration, but I think that approach would have been more suitable for something like this. Not saying they probably didn't consult with whoever was deemed experts, but I work in the computer industry and I don't know who these experts are, so I see that as a problem.
I like this guy.
Well, I think they had at some point there was the advisor to the Prime Minister in regards to information technology in the last regime, as you so call it. Or was it? Yeah. Or was it that each minister had a technical advisor?
In terms of the budget consultation?
Not budget consultation, but you're saying how that relates to the cybercrime bill, like who was consulted for creating these costings or these fines for infraction.
I do know of some things. I should be honest, I do know of some parts of the procedure based on what people who would have been privy at some point in time to these processes may have hinted, but I don't know it firsthand, because there's not much out there in terms of you could go and see, okay, this is the process that they went through to arrive at that. I mean, probably if you contact the ministries, they may have information probably not readily available, but they may have it. But in terms of like, being able to do a search and saying, this is the process we use to draft up our laws, I think it's fairly kind of like free for all and based on whoever is the person in charge at the point in time. Because I recall some of our older laws that they were trying to repeal. I don't remember which one was basically like a copy and paste of a Canadian law. And as I tell people, we have like laws that ban the hunting of alligators, but alligators, there are no alligators native to Trinidad and Tobago. So,
So blatant copy and paste, and obviously we did not use that Turnitin application. Is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, in some cases.
This poses a question, an interesting question though. The creation of laws and stuff is supposed to be, let me see what I'm looking for. It's supposed transparent. So it's supposed to be transparent in regards to how these things are created. But is it that it's not really truly transparent because it's so difficult to find the information that they're hiding how it's done? Is it that it's not really transparent? It's kind of a little opaque because you need someone to help you clear that fog from that glass to see how was this arrived at? How did this happen? How did people come across the change of this law? Who was consulted in regards to these new aspects of a law that's being changed? Is that a case? Is that because there's so much lack of open information that it's not necessarily as transparent as they like to claim? That's just a philosophical question of sorts.
Yeah. One of the things I've heard multiple people say is that, we don't actually have policies as to what is information that could be publicly shared and what is, top secret, classified, blah, blah, blah information. So in some cases, especially when coming up with laws like this, stuff like that could be an issue. But in my opinion, and this is 100% my individual opinion, just from observing and listening to the Attorney General speak in person, I strongly got the sense that his approach, because he literally said to us, his job as the Attorney General, is to bring laws. And if there's anything, if we find issue with the laws, that's what the courts are for. And I strongly get the sense that his approach to legislation, because you see it in other bills and whatnot, where he basically is very reluctant to back down. It's basically let these laws pass and you have a court system. If people think, it's infringing on your rights or whatnot, we could take it up in the court. Which, I don't think the average person will be too happy about that. But, him having a legal professional background, that may not seem like such an issue. But that's just my opinion on that, based on my observations.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Share with us.
So my view of recent has been very pan-Caribbean, because I'm realizing more and more that a pothole in Trinidad is no different to the pothole in Barbados or the one in Nassau, Bahamas, or the one in Guyana, because my vehicle still gets damage. And looking at this bill and then remembering the similarities of the bill that Jamaica chose to pass, and seeing what happened across there, and this bill is like very similar, attacking the same 3 points. And I'm going to use an example to illustrate what I'm talking about. In Jamaica, with a similar bill, I'm trying to use my words very carefully. A activist. Let's just go with the word activist, right?
Oh,
Said
I know
some,
where you're going with this. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Share with
Yeah.
the
Said,
rest of the class, please.
said something on um social media, right? And they were dealt with the many full mouth of teeth that this law has in it. So a week or two afterwards, I met the senior advisor to the Minister of ICT in Jamaica, in Trinidad, at a conference where we was discussing cryptocurrency and Internet of Things, where I presented, and we got into discussion afterwards after the conference where we were the Hyatt now, just discussing just general, and he brought up this topic and he said, well, you see, our bill is working and is ensuring that the internet and social media is not used for bad or whatever the case is. And at that point, I thought to myself, I was like, wow, yes, for the all legal people in Jamaica in like curtailing what people say online and wherever they won't. I saw in the document which I could not help but jump out at me. Emotional, right? So if um Joanna says something about me that hurts my feelings very deeply, right? I can then use this law and the person, and she says it on social media, I can then use this legislation, right, to get to sue Joanna for defamation of character, for loss of business, um, a whole host
So
of.
my question to that is, what is freedom of speech?
Great. I just don't want to be the one to bring up that point.
I don't think we have any free speech laws in Trinidad and Tobago, at least that I'm aware of. I'm not too sure if it's mentioned in the Constitution, but I don't think we have. I don't think we have that, right of free speech, at least not explicitly.
That is
But I could be wrong.
consider. Obika, I just have you muted, so I'm not sure if I have the control of that or muting you or not, because I notice you're driving. Just giving him a heads up on that.
Yeah, it's like he's in a cop car there, boy.
He's in a car, so I didn't want to get too much traffic interference with the conversation. Just wave if you need us to unmute you, and we'll do that. So Ira is mentioning that how this law is not unique to Trinidad and Tobago because there was an attempt or there was a use of a similar, or not exactly similar law, something in the same spectrum in Jamaica in regards to if I decide to bad talk him on social media, he can potentially sue me because I'm bad talking his character and potentially making him lose business.
Well, that's already in our books to some extent, because remember, every other week we hear about a politician wanting to bring slander or libel case against somebody else. So
Can you
that's
explain
already
that case terminology you just used there?
So basically making statements about somebody that is not true, public statements about somebody that's not true, depending on the context, that actually can be against the law in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, probably across the Caribbean, because I suspect it's probably an old, British kind of thing we probably inherited. But we had a very recent judgment actually on that, where this guy, I don't really listen to radio too much, but I know Gladiator is supposed to be someone of the more, controversial old talk radio political people, right? Um, Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Yes,
It's
I
understandable.
know about this gladiator person. He's on Red 96, I think. I don't know
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know if he's still on radio or not, actually. But basically, what I read was he won his case against two other radio personalities or something like that because they were making statements, questioning his sexuality and basically it's the way that you make statements about people. You can lose that case in court. That's why people like Ian Allen would say allegedly,
Yes, that
because
is a
it's,
very famous word.
yeah, that's often used for legal purposes because you're not asserting that it is fact. You're saying that it's alleged to be a fact. So depending on how you word your stuff, our laws do allow people to take recourse, which I don't necessarily have a problem with too much, because most of the times I see something like that come up, it tends to be like a civil case where somebody suing somebody else and they win damages or whatnot. But when it comes to criminal acts now, that's where my heart is full of grief and darkness, because I don't know how many of you are familiar with our criminal justice system in Trinidad and Tobago, that is. But it is probably not exaggerating to say it's on the verge of collapse. It's in a horrible mess. And in many people cases that I know of, sometimes the difference between your freedom and being in prison is the ability to get bail, sorry, because if you make bail, some a lot of people, their cases don't get called for years afterwards, whereas if you get denied bail, your case sometimes does not get called for years afterwards, so you spend years in jail. So I know there are arguments towards criminalizing misuse of computers, but to me, we have to be real careful about these things because we don't exactly have a proper functioning legal system. I mean, it's every week they in the papers for somebody want to protest, or somebody want this one to step down, this one illegally get appointed to judge, this one throughout dismiss, just
So
leave without
it's
finishing
more
up
or
on
less
cases.
an alleged puppy show.
Um, I would, yeah, I wouldn't call it a puppy show. I would
It's
say
alleged that
it's
it
like,
might be called a puppy show.
well, puppy shows suggest that people putting on, well, as puppy show means a front, which could be the case allegedly, but it also seems to me like that's way too much bureaucracy and laws upon laws upon laws upon laws, rather than looking at what where the nation is and what it needs.
Hi, hello.
Hello.
Hi. One of the things that justice system, I'm gonna quote the chief justice on this, and you said this twice. Said it on the last, and he said it with open term. All right. And
May I
one
have
of
to
the things
repeat
he
that,
said
RB?
is that. Sorry, are you hearing me? Hello.
Yeah, yeah. You
Right.
might just have to repeat your thoughts a little bit.
Right. So one of the things the chief justice said under the last administration, and he also said under this administration, is that the judiciary of Trinidad and Tobago is not financially independent and at the whims and fancies of the Attorney General, the DPP, the Minister of Finance, or whoever. They decide how much money the Justice Department gets every year, which is not what it's supposed to be, is what the Chief Justice was saying. So, great. So, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you go ahead. I just muted Natalie. She's getting a phone call or something.
Right. So, essentially, right, because the judiciary does not get money independently of the government, or you haven't asked the finance minister, the prime minister, or somebody who making the budget to give some money, or whatever the case is, and it's not of the budgetary allocations. That means the judiciary in the country will always be in not working efficiently. So, an example, they introduce video, we give video testimonies, which cut down a lot in the magistrate level cases in the different municipalities, no, corporations and that kind of thing, right? So a lot of those cases. So that's just on the low level. They wanted to redo some courthouses down south, have like night courts and these kind of stuff to increase whatever. All these proposals are there from years now, but the judiciary has been starved for finances, and because the political part of government has to contribute to the legal part of the state and essentially dictate when a court is built or not built or whatever. The judiciary, because of lacking financial independence, right? And have to bring back judges who pass retirement age or whatever, because you can't bring up new ones, because if you bring up new ones, the cost of bringing up new ones is too much and that kind of thing, is under like a stranglehold because of that provision. And what the Chief Justice Iva Archie was saying is that if you free up the justice system, give them the required finances, pay the judges what they're supposed to get, and then not just the judges he was talking about, the people who work in the hall of justice, who work in different law places in the courts in all parts of Trinidad and Tobago. Because when compared Caribbean wide and even internationally, they are paid like nothing more than somebody very basic entry level office staff, which should not be. So if you pay the people properly, one, and all the proposals that they have to make the justice system more efficient and effective, then you can afford to bring more cases and try more cases and cut through the backlog of cases that they are in Trinidad and Tobago. And additionally, in the United States, right, there is a process. If a person cannot post bail, they created this law that allow bail bondsmen, right, to take up that risk that the state should not even be taken up, right? So if I, God forbid, and God definitely forbid, that I on a
Yeah, look out on
300,000,
yourself there.
right, on $100,000 bail for performing any one of these crimes inside this new cyber bill here, right, for whatever reason, then you pass that risk onto a private entity, and I don't think anybody look at A&E would have Dog the Bounty Hunter, which is what he is essentially. He own a bounty hunting company. So if you can't post bail, they will post the bail for you, right? And the government will entrust them um, with the person who created that crime, or whatever the case is. That way, doctors don't have to deal with like paying paying these paying bail. They pass it to the private company. The private company takes on the risk, and they get a cut on whatever the bail is, right? Or some service charge or whatever the case is. That way, that's one less thing that the court doing, and the court only focusing on getting as much cases aired rather than doing all this ancillary work that the court should not even be doing. Right? That will make our justice system be more efficient. So all the justice system supposed to be focusing is on guilty at charge or trial or getting as many cases done, and have like a target, and have money to pay the lawyers and judges to come. Because I hear 1 year the High Court, they did not have enough money to pay the amount of judges to try certain cases after Carnival. Why? Because the period was X amount, and the amount of judges they needed was Y amount, and they could not have made the shortfall. Now, why is that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I could say a lot there, but I prefer not to drive the conversation into the inefficiencies of the judicial system too much. But you're correct there. So like yeah, just to add to, you have that inefficiency going on there due to whatever that structure is like, and then you have more loans coming on stream, which some of these things here are quite simple to basically commit an offense. I just have 2 notes here based on where I reached.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to share with you guys to give an example.
What page you on?
This is from part 2 cybercrime offenses, section 6 to section 9. I just a few short notes because I didn't make notes on everything either, but it's just a continuing theme. Like in part 2 cybercrime offenses, section 6, right? If anybody wants to pull that up or whatever.
If it's tell me the page.
All right, I'm gonna get a page over it.
Could you just
Screen share with us?
Yeah, my screen is shared. I think you would have to click on my thing to see it.
Question.
Yeah, man, send him actually.
Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of like on a phone right now, so I can't watch the screen. But could you just talk it out briefly as to section 6 to section 9? Because I remember the majority of parts of part 2. I can't remember the exact clauses.
All right, so part 2, right? Part 2 cybercrime offenses. Deals with stuff such as illegal access to a computer system, illegally remaining in a computer system. Page. Oh, sorry, page. Page. Where I'm going is page 13. 15. Page 14. Did I say page 14? But I 14 from the PDF document. So in terms of the actual document itself, it says page 5.
Okay.
That's the number at the top of the actual document. Okay. So if anybody could see my screen, you'll see where I scroll towards it. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, go ahead and continue.
All right. So section 6 says a person who intentionally and without lawful excuse or justification remains logged into a computer system or part of a computer system or continues to use a computer system commits an offense and is liable A, on summary conviction to a fine of $100,000 and imprisonment for 2 years, or B, on conviction on indictment to a fine of $200,000 and imprisonment for 3 years. Now, there is a list of definitions at the top that I did read. I don't recall seeing a definition for remaining logged into a computer system. But the question, the note I have there is where is the definition of remaining logged into a computer system? Because for as an example, they said intentionally and without lawful excuse or justification, right? What I'm thinking here is like, okay, does that mean if a workplace has a policy that you must log out of your computer system before you leave, and you don't log out, intentionally, probably because you're doing some work and you want to just come back in the morning and get right back to it, that kind of thing. Does that mean? Does that suggest that this person is creating an offense because the company has a policy that you're allowed to, you must log out of the system before you leave and whatnot, as was the case?
Okay, let me just sorry, just to interlude there. Remember, this bill is on crime, on criminal acts, right? The only time a company can charge you or ask the police to investigate you is only if they wish to do so. Otherwise, this doesn't really apply. So, in a case like this, if the company has a policy in which, let's say, you're to log out of your session after working hours, right, and you disobey it, the company is supposed to take into consideration the fact that you've not done it, and it's supposed to go through the disciplinary procedure, right? Unless there was some sort of fraud based on your active session, the company will very unlikely ask the police to investigate and prosecute you based on that. Right?
Well,
The majority of the time, companies will just go ahead and just go through the disciplinary procedure.
You see, where you're looking at it there from, Obika, is from, I would say, a rational reasoning. But what I'm looking at here now is what kind of provision does the law give now for such a thing to be, whether intentionally or whether unintentionally, sorry, or maliciously? Because that would be what you described there would be the approach. Yeah, you have a policy, log out by a certain, before you leave, we see you're still logged in, we find out why you're not logged in, and we go through our procedures. Yes. But in the case, like, for instance, where you're trying to get rid of a staff or some kind of malicious something, a company or a person in charge could easily bypass whatever the company's disciplinary processes.
So you're basically talking about malicious prosecution, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it doesn't even have to
So
be solid enough to go through.
Well, remember, it's only on the company can the cybercrime or the investigator or the police inspector investigate that particular crime. It's only if the company wants them to or has brought forward
that's any law?
Yeah, that's any law. Yeah.
What section?
Well, no, not in this law, but the funny thing about laws is that laws are policies, right? And if you know about policies, build upon each other. So
sorry, could you say that again? I didn't hear it clearly.
Yeah, are you hearing me now?
Yeah, could you just repeat the comparison?
Okay. So if you think about laws, right? Laws are like companies. Policies are more or less. So you have like a main policy, and then you build upon that. So the same thing applies here, right? If the company has a complaint against you in terms of fraud, right, or any sort of fraudulent action, right, they have to inform the police inspector, look, we have suspected fraud, investigate fraud, they can bring it under the, that's how it works, right? In a case like that, gains here. Right. Okay. This, right? Unless the company has actually told you, has told the police that some sort of suspected fraud, we want to come and investigate. I mean, the police really can't do anything much. They're aware of the situation
Okay.
information. There are like what's the term? Then beyond a reasonable doubt.
Is everybody here? No, because clearly.
No.
Okay. What I think I got from what he's saying is that
He's a bit muffled.
yeah, you can correct me if I'm wrong in interpreting what you're saying, Obika. What I get you're saying is that it boils down to the company's willingness to pursue a matter as fraud or something like that in order for the police to get involved.
Yes, it is. Because think about it. In terms of financial crime, when you hear on the news that a teller was charged for stealing money or fraudulent count of stealing money, how you think that people found out? How you think that the courts found out that the teller committed 130 something acts of fraud? It's because the company told the police that, look, we found out that the teller stole money from our client. This is what he stole, right? And for each client that he stole from, he gets hit with a summary offense. Sorry, not summary offense. A fraudulent offense.
So what you're suggesting, because again, it's two ways I could look at that. Are you suggesting that it's literally up to the company to snitch on the employee, or are you saying it's up to the company to be like, okay, officers, I want you are allowed to investigate this case?
Yeah, well, you're more or less kind of saying the same thing.
Oh no, not exactly.
And telling the officer that I want you to investigate this case. It's more or less the same thing. You're basically informing the police officer that, look, fraud, we would like you to investigate and possibly bring charges to this individual for defrauding us based on the cybercrime, the cybercrime bill.
Well,
right?
first, go on. Sorry.
And it is really and truly up to the company whether or not they wish to do that.
Well, I disagree with that because first of all, let me point out that remember this is not just fraud alone. This is crime. This is cybercrime, and it defines different offenses, not just fraud alone. And the other part of that now is that now that these things are listed as offenses, crimes, it's the police job to investigate crimes and bring prosecution, whatever the case may be. And I'm pretty sure somewhere, once an offense has been committed, anybody or any organization that prevents the police from going about investigation of such and prosecution of such, I'm sure that is also an offense in some piece of law as well, because you're basically obstructing justice. Yes, I agree. Literally, if a company detects that, a staff member may have done something intentionally, like not logging out of the machine, which is part of company policy and whatnot, it's up to that company to basically say, well, okay, please log out of your machine. Or if it's a malicious case, they may be able to look at this legislation and say, hey, we authorize the computer to be used like this, and this person has not used it like that because we request that they log out. When they leave, they remain logged into the system afterwards. This part 2, section 5, actually gives us some room to bring this person to court. The one point I want to make as well is that doesn't necessarily mean that they will get the conviction, because there may be, because this law itself starts off by saying it contradicts Section 4 and 5 of the Constitution. So it may also contradict some other laws, or create some kind of legal situation where they may not be able to get that conviction. But the fact that it's here listed on a law, though, that gives some kind of leverage now for that to be utilized in a court of law, an argument that a lawyer could use against an employee. And this might seem small-minded and it might seem very petty, but I have heard of cases where companies, put employees in bad situation, no training, expensive equipment, that kind of thing. Bad things happen and they bring the employee to court for damaging property and that kind of thing.
Publication of this database, junior database, who deleted the entire database by accident.
Exactly, stuff like that. Correct. Database deleted.
Training given to the junior programmer before giving him access to these business critical aspects.
Okay.
In international news, but for local.
Okay, I think we all are having technical difficulties right now.
Yeah, Joanna, I'm not hearing you too well.
You hear me better now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
I was just referencing a news article that was popping around in regards to a junior developer getting fired because he had access to a live database and accidentally deleted it, I believe. Showing that a lack of training and proper security measures were put in place prior to them getting access to this business critical
Oh yeah,
database.
I remember that news report. That was it. That was the case where they gave him a document and he missed out a step in the document, and as a result, he ended up changing around the live database and crashing the application.
Possibly the same thing. I'm not too sure.
I think you're talking about the international thing.
Yes, the international thing.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So it's been my experience, right, that when it comes to investigation, let's take for example robbery, right? If you're robbed and you decide, okay, the man just take a couple bottles of rum. I ain't business, I ain't bothering. I just going to go about my life as normal. You really think the police will come to your house and say, hey, you get robbed, let me come and investigate? It don't really happen like that.
No,
right?
well,
You literally have to go and tell the police, look, I get robbed.
Yeah, here's the thing,
Right?
Obika, what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Like, in terms of what actually happens in reality in Trinidad and Tobago, I would agree with you because we all know what the situation is. But I'm talking about from a standpoint of what the law allows for and how the system's supposed to work ideally. Because yes, they cannot force you to, cooperate in an investigation to the extent that they come and in your house and that kind of thing. But they can ask you questions, for example, and they can pursue investigation without your help. They can't enter private property without a warrant, but they can, if you refuse to be part of an investigation, they can investigate it on their own, and that's called, basically policing. Whether or not our local law enforcement does that is a different question.
Yeah. No,
Right?
I will agree with you on that. If they're made aware of the situation, they can take investigation, right? Let's come back to the point on malicious prosecution. Now, malicious prosecution is something that does happen, seen it happen as well, right? But at the same time, you have to remember the laws of the land are based on, or at least, sorry, based on precedents, right? So as long as the guy goes through, or the person who is being prosecuted goes through the court and gets his particular case overturned on appeal, whatever that decision that has happened in the high court is then moved down to the lower court, and therefore, if
Yeah.
if a scenario like that does come around, maliciously prosecute the person again under the same circumstances. So in a case like this, I mean, it's very likely people may come out to they come onto malicious prosecution. Claim, and I really not going to put my head out here when the court here condemn this, but as long as that individual does what he or she needs to do in terms of the court, I don't see malicious prosecution being a problem concerning this particular clause.
I would
We
add
have those things in place already.
what I want to say on that is that remember, this is me from talking to other people who primarily do consulting with kind of thing, and they I want to say consulting, I mean IT consulting in quotes, and there are people who build a reputation for themselves where the minute something goes wrong, they want to take it to court, and sometimes I don't have any facts or figures, but I've heard of situations where before things even go to court, people would just say, okay, look your money, or whatever the case might be, because people tend to be so wary of being tied up in the court. So a high court decision, yes, could set precedents, but at the same time, you're not going to tell, there are very few people you could tell in this land, well, yeah, don't study it, we'll just go to high court, take it to high court, and we'll get a decision, and they'll have a smile on their face. Like, actually, an IT teacher actually recently was in the papers about something with a promotion, and it took her, like, she went to school and got an education, whatever, and wanted to was supposed to get upgraded like one level or something as a teacher. Apparently, it took the court like 7 or 8 years to make a ruling. And the title of the article actually literally was "The Law is an Ass." I don't know if that's how words in the newspapers. Is the law an ass? There was a question here. Is the law an ass? So my point is, some of these things you would not hear if you're not, paying attention to it, because, a lot of people will just take it as a threat, give people whatever they want in order to leave them alone and be very quiet about it and move on with their life. So again, it still presents, no matter how you look at it, it's when it's there, it still presents opportunities to be abused by those who know against those who don't know.
Agreed. Agreed on that. It's one of those what I like to call what's the term? It's one of those strange. Sorry, excuse me. I'm now getting into my apartment here.
Yeah, well, we just watched him drive home. It's like reality TV.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you have to take a risk on. And I think the whole point of the matter is that there is going to be some sort of malicious prosecution at some point in time. We just have to, I guess, kind of hope that the court do what's the right thing. So, ultimately protecting people who are how we handle and deal with malicious prosecution.
Okay, fair enough. I had some other points here, but all I'm gonna say is that basically most of my notes on this so far is that because the nature of technology is so complicated, I am wary of vagueness. I understand laws tend to be vague because they want to leave room for debate in courts or whatever. But most of my comments so far has been on the lack of well, of course the size of the fines and penalties and how is that calculated, but also lack of clearly stating what is what, like remaining logged into a computer system. Just to give another example that some might think silly, but if it is I use a website and a web service or whatever, and for whatever reason, I get kicked off of the website. They ban my account or whatever for whatever reason, but the website, has a bug or something, and I can still actually use the website, or I have my browser open on that kind of thing, whether or not that constitutes remaining logged into the site and that kind of thing, logged into the system. And also this next point too, I forgot to mention, where they say obstructs, interrupts, or interferes with the lawful use of a computer. What I'm thinking there is, okay, if somebody, pulls out the plug of somebody else's desktop while they're doing some work and that kind of thing, does that become a criminal offense because they're clearly obstructing, their lawful use of the computer? So what I would like in general so far is a lot of these things to either be removed or explained in great detail, because what I think we've seen from many states as well, and past cases, like I think it was Aaron Langley, or what his name was, the guy who committed suicide, who was involved with the RSS standard and that kind of thing. I think what we see is like it's really very easy to commit a crime with a computer, like extremely easy. So I think the more specific we are with some of these things here, the less likely some of these things could be abused.
Um, I I I would like to put a suggestion. I agree with you on putting an explanation. Um, think that uh $200,000 and imprisonment of 3 years for A, B, a conviction, $500,000 and imprisonment for 5 years. One or the other. What I think it should be 3 levels, right? Because I can see persons abusing this law now very
Yeah.
easily. To hedge, I guess, if you just put $50,000 or $10,000, yeah, and 6 months, like a third option that's like really, really touch on the risk first offender, that kind of way. So yeah, so that first offender you could just put not 10,000, and if not that, if you can get amount of bail, you spend jail and some community service, force a person to do community service of teaching kids how to code. We all know how excited that is, all right? Like yeah, you have all these 500,000 all that, but to me, this needs some more. And you bring in the compassion in the law, and taking on the hat of the state, you could be very intentional with the example. I remember it was Wozniak, yes, Wozniak, when he went to jail and he spent a long time. one of the things that allow them to come back out early is like community service. The guy start teaching people in jail how to code, teach people in jail how to be computer literate, right? And then use stuff like that, or if you force a person to take 6 months community service, set up a way. So I am hello.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
I'm right. Yeah, like set add a third option, not A and B. Stop the very draconian behavior, Mr. Right? Just add a third option, or add it to all three. Add some if okay, okay, so you pull out a computer that took off incriminating evidence or whatever the case is. Like this computer genius, you who work at a pay or wherever the thing is, put you in jail and then teach you people in jail how to become computer literate, right? And teach them how to fix computers or whatever, and will allow the person off and put it in the legislation, like, or 2 years of community service and you only spend X amount or Y amount or whatever the case is. Because what it will do, it will take, because I know of young men who like they are wicked with a keyboard. They could, yeah, and I and like at a very young age, I could like getting anything I want to get in, because any man that build a system is that I'm a human being that has blood, and blood is flowing through my brain, so I think I can figure things out, right? So at those people, and I guys like that in this country, right, who are very skillful, but they'll use their skill for nefarious activity to hack somebody profile, to get some money to buy more games for the Xbox or the PS4. We know the subculture. Super geek young people or older people.
I just wanna add something to that as well, Agri, because I looked at a video this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Different topic, but very similar. What you're talking about there. Not Archbishop, the priest who got robbed in
Pastor
Belmont.
Harvey, yes, I look at that video too. Oh my God.
Like priest or pastor? Because he said he's not a pastor.
Yeah, he's a priest. A priest.
Yeah, because that's one of the point he made. Because the guys on them thought he was a pastor and thought he was like one of these big shots. But
Right.
what he said in that video, if you guys go back and watch, he made a lot of sense in that video, because one thing he said is that, the current focus is on, demonizing, finding somebody to kind of like be the enemy, basically. And he talking about like, if they hold these two guys that robbed and whatnot, most youths, when they get arrested, what happens next after the first offense? They go to secondary school for criminals. Basically they yeah. And he was kind of
excellent point.
Yeah, exactly. And you're making that's some valid sense right there. Like, have them doing community service and that kind of thing, teaching people and that kind of thing, rather than the approach where it's like, yeah, you're a criminal, you need to be punished.
I don't want to bring what I do for voluntary, but I will have to. Some years ago, about 2 or 3 years, I used to volunteer up as part of prison fellowship. They have a pre-release program. So before the 17 years and the 15 years come back out from YTC, we will carry them through a 3-month course or integrating them into society. Right?
Yeah.
And a simple thing that was instituted in YTC is to sending these people is sending these young boys to get jobs while they were in there, get them to do apprentices, and then the company would pay YTC or whatever, they probably will get cut, and then some will go to the inmate. So when they come out, they have some money to not go, so that they could at least bounce for a little 3 months, 6 months while they get on their feet and that kind of thing. And I thought, excellent program, because one of the young men who was in that program, it happened that I moved now. I used to live in Kirap, now I live in Tunapuna. One of the young men live on the street I live on now. And he's doing, and I could say what he's doing, he's into like food, preparing food and stuff. And the food is good. So giving him that opportunity. No, I like my belly. I'm sorry that I had to bring my belly to this, but I really like my belly. And look at that. They're giving him an opportunity to work in a food place there, and I think that he work in food, he do some stuff at Fine Choice. Candy Diana is an expensive worker, so he got experience and exposure probably. And today that guy is out now, he has a child. You understand? He's now back in society as a positive citizen. Right? I'm not sure if he's paying taxes and all of that, but
hey, don't put him on up like that. Put him on up like that.
Right? But yeah, right? He is, and so with that kind of justice, right? It needs to be, people need to see that in the legislation part of it. And I don't think in these people who draft bills, they think this thing through. They think it through because of some international pressure, either by the US or the UN or Europe or some big boy outside. But I really would like to see, and I'm agree to the definition, explanation, and wherever, but telling you straight, the reason why that is so broad is because people want, and I understand what the Attorney General is doing.
Okay. Remember we're recording here.
Yeah, that's okay. I have no problem with that. It has to be that broad, right? Because lawyers will come back and say that the law does not cover for this, it does not cover for that. So that's why they make the law so broad, right? And allow the court and precedent. I think that contributor earlier, I can't remember, Onika, also the person was saying that it is so broad because of the preceding laws before. So I don't think this law was crafted by someone who has more than basic understanding of internet security and cybersecurity.
Yeah,
right?
I
think based on how it's structured, this was done by a legal mind in consultation with a technology person, right? Who gave them something from a theoretic standpoint, right? They did not study cases in the US, they didn't study cases in England, all over the world where cybercrime legislation has been used or cases. I don't get that feeling from this.
Well, I want to make two more points. I purposely actually avoid the topic of the lawyers' approach too much, because if I start on that, I ain't gonna stop. And then people let's catch feelings when they start to talk about they feel. But anyway, I just want to point out. I just want to point out. Yeah, I'm not here to do that today. I just want to point out though, what I just read here. this is illegal devices. This is I guess in section 11. I think this is still part of part 2.
Page.
Yeah, page 8 and 9 on the document itself.
So, you know,
Page 18.
what page we on today?
Page
Exactly.
8. Page 8 and 9.
8 and 9 on the document itself.
Okay.
We really should not. This is a part that we really shouldn't underestimate this part.
Page
I just
8.
got on the PDF document. It is page 17 and 18.
Lozano, before we continue, did we ever, I know I'm kind of late to the discussion, but did we ever talk about whistleblowers and journalists
Wrong
in regards to...
Yeah, I don't think we touched on that, but if we have time,
Okay, well,
we could.
yeah, well, after you go through the section, I just want to talk a little bit on it.
Yeah, well,
Because
okay.
I have a concerning that.
Okay, it's two things I actually want to say. So this part here could tie into that, so I'll talk about it after. I'm going to talk about the
Okay.
other part I was going to talk about first. Now, the other part I was going to talk about is somewhere at the end of this is actually me giving some praise to the bill. Somewhere at the end, I saw a section where the minister has must review the legislation at least once every 3 years. I
will go with 2, but go ahead.
No, I think that's a very good start. There most likely is something like that in other legislation around the place, but in terms of the laws fair enough. But in terms of laws that I have read in the past, I have never seen anything like that in our legislation.
Okay.
So
Good. Very good.
No, this is definitely a first. Trust me, from somebody who has reviewed laws, this is a first.
Well, yeah, that is very good that they at least put it there. Now, what I would say though is that to complement that some more, if they had some kind of provision, I'll probably put that in my comments. But if they had some kind of provision, no, where rather than just the minister has to review, because the minister could just say, all right, I review, I'll look at it, it's good enough, like continue going. If they have some kind of clause that says that, okay, the review process must involve, some part of society, some kind of public engagement on the matter, then that could set a really good example moving forward for how we do legislation, because they don't have to do the big, expensive consultations all the time. But there was a bill that they put up, they did a website for it, and on the website they could have log in and leave comments and that kind of thing. I don't remember what bill it was, but we don't seem to be doing anything like that anymore. But if they took an approach like that where they have to solicit that public feedback, I think that's a good step forward. Would be a good step forward. Now, I'm just gonna read this section 11 here. Now, illegal devices. A person who produces, sells, procures for use, imports, exports, distributes, or otherwise makes available or has in his possession a device or computer program that is computer program that is designed or adapted for the purpose of committing an wait. Hold on. Sorry, I need to
Which page? I'm missing the page. Like, I'm not following.
So you're not being very good at telling us what page you're on,
Yeah.
I tell you, page 18 on the actual PDF document. And it is page 8. It is page 8 on the actual paper, and it is page 18, section 11. On my screen.
PDF file.
Page 18 on the PDF file. I'm gonna wanna continue.
All right, and section 10 or 11?
11.
All right, good. I'll follow you.
You there, everybody there, Joanna, Jobika?
Illegal
I'm not
devices.
gonna lie, sir. I really don't have that page open. I'm just enjoying learning.
So I'm just gonna drop off for 2 seconds and switch over. So I'll be with all you in a while.
All right, no problem.
I'm just listening and learning. That's all I'm here for.
Yeah, but this part's a little bit spicy, boy. I didn't even realize it's a computer programmers or to just devices. But anyway, a person who produces, sells, procures for use, imports, exports, distributes, or otherwise makes available or has in his possession a device or computer program that is designed for or adapted for the purpose of committing an offense under this act, or a computer password, access code, or similar data by which the whole or any part of a computer system, computer data storage device, or computer data is capable of being accessed with the intent that it be used for the purpose of committing an offense under this act, or intentionally and without lawful excuse or justification discloses a computer password, access code, or similar data by which the whole or any part of a computer system, computer data storage device, or computer data may be accessed for unlawful gain, whether for himself or another person, for an unlawful purpose, or knowing that it is likely to cause unlawful damage, commits an offense. And then after that,
From just listening to that.
yeah, that's where the speech gets a little bit drawn out.
The password part is a little concerning, though.
Not just the password, but the computer program and the device part, because this is the part that would definitely speak to not just computer researchers, not just people who enter computer security, because I mean, what I'm getting from this is you download and install Kali or Linux or Backtrack or something, and potentially, yeah, you have this. I mean, you might not have installed it for the intention of committing an offense, but these type of things, the software programs are used for, can be used to commit an offense. So yeah.
wait telling me I don't use Windows or Mac. The OS that I use, just by using this particular operating system that I happen to have installed on my laptop, couldn't be deemed.
Well, actually, come to think of it,
I wouldn't say anymore. Knowing you and you knowing me, you'll fill in the blanks.
No, but this is really kind of a cause for concern, because I wasn't even looking at it like regular Linux, because everything on Kali and Backtracks you could install more or less on any Linux distribution, whether accidentally or not.
Exactly, because let's be real. A guy fly from South America into Trinidad and to Tobago, and he has Linux installed. And because now I know we have excellent law enforcement persons at the port of entry in Trinidad and Tobago, and those in the protective services. I'm sure that we have those. But then you're also at risk of a person not really understanding and seeing that Kali, Linux, and a few other tools that can be installed on Linux operating system, say, well, okay, well, all them people who have Linux, them is hackers, right? So one, no, this is serious. I've seen worse.
He making a good point there for real.
No, he was making a good point.
One officer tell the other officer, oh, it's Windows. No, this is not Windows, this is not Mac. This the hacking thing. Hacking thing? Nah, come. You understand? Now I have to explain to people why I have a particular non-standard operating system on my computer. Or let's say they're a little educated, so they understand that Ubuntu and others are like okay and whatever. And somehow they see Kali or some wait now, I have a flash drive. And the flash drive has this. I know how they love to have these pieces of paper in the police place, right? And they say, oh well, this piece of software they say is bad. We have to hold it for 24 hours and that kind of thing. That kind of thing can become abusive in this country, right?
No.
If people don't know.
No, yeah. No, I again with that too, they also talk about computer passwords. So what I'm getting from this now is if somebody hack a database, right, and dump as they usually do, dump all the details onto like a paste bin or something. I mean, obviously they have done an offense in terms of hacking people's database, but that
Right.
information now in the public domain. So now it begs the question because they say a computer password, access code, or similar data by which the whole or any part of a system is
Mm-hmm.
capable of being accessed. If I was to get access, if I go to Pastebin and I copy that database dump and I share it with somebody in the field, whatnot, have I committed an offense? Because this information could be used to access um, people's accounts or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, this is where security research is important because one of the things people use those password database dumps is to basically run analysis and check the quality of the type of passwords people using.
But I think one of the major things with law is intention. So if you, so for example, this is going to be a bad example, but it's an example, right? Um, anybody who actually knows me knows why it's a bad example, but I'm going to use it anyway. So, for example, marijuana, right? If if somebody has if somebody has X amount of marijuana, right? It is easy to say the person, let's say the person has amount of marijuana, right? You could plead because one of the biggest part of law is proving or disproving intent. If I have a small piece of marijuana, it's easy to prove, well, okay, he planned on using for himself for medical. Okay, I imaginary got glaucoma for some reason, right? And marijuana is somehow my medicine, or I'm going to use it to reduce it, to put it together to make some kind of bush medicine, quote unquote. Right?
Babash.
Right, right. If now, for whatever reason, I have more. So this is Linux. Sorry, Ubuntu plus the Kali right? More than just the basic. It is easier for the lawyer or the public prosecutor to prove that the reason why I was sitting with a laptop with Kali installed in the Hyatt is because I was trying to hack some minister or somebody phone who will be walking going to parliament. Right? No, that here's how a lawyer will argue that. One, why would I have a laptop in the Hyatt with Kali Linux on it and a wireless adapter just sitting in the Hyatt? Right? I could say my counter argument could be, oh, well, my internal Wi-Fi wasn't working, so I bought this particular dongle to give me better connectivity, because we all know how hard it is to get Wi-Fi in Trinidad and Tobago. Then the other person will say, well, no, well, the Wi-Fi there is good, but we see that you have this thing on your laptop here, and you were here for a while. The camera will say, well, you were here for 2 hours. I said, no, I was here for 2 hours because I was trying to finish a proposal to deliver to somebody there, and I thought I'll come by the Hyatt to get something to drink. Now, all I am is a random guy who's sitting down in the Hyatt with a laptop that has Linux on it. That's all I am. But I proved to a judge, one, I had access, meaning that I was in the Hyatt where I assume this person would be, because there's some big conference, and the government ministers love them the Hyatt. 2, for whatever, I spent a long time there because I had intent to commit, right? 3, when they seized the laptop from me, I was not preparing the document alone. I also had this application on the computer. I may not have used it, but I had intent to do so. It's only
Yeah, I
up
could
to
see.
good at so it's a simple thing. It's my regular laptop I use every day, right? That I use for preparing documents, but they can now spin that and make it that I was there looking out to attack some minister. Or, for example, a minister's cell phone is hacked or Facebook account is hacked, right? And they replay the video and they saw random Joe Smo, right? Let's say her name is Joanne, right?
Gosh, me again.
And so this random girl who sat there with this company, right? Who sat there, right? On the same day that the minister phone or government official phone was hacked, uses this known hacking platform, quote unquote. I don't know how it became a hacking platform, but okay, right? And when we check back, we realize that she and the government official were in the same place, right? The lawyer now has to show that she doesn't have intent, because if you read the first part of the law, the basis of all of this is intent. Is not just because, well, you have the security things, they'll say, well, okay, because you have it. Anytime the first part of the hearing, the first day, the one thing they're gonna prove is that Joanne did not like the minister or the government official. That's the first thing they'll prove, right? Because of her post on Facebook, because of X, Y, and Z, right? Or what she said X, Y, and Z. And then the next part, to make sure that the fine and the implications can be applied, is if she had all of these things. So this piece of law is to add to like it is referencing an external piece of legislation to this, which is an intent to commit a crime, right? And once they fulfill that piece of the legislation, they will now pull this act to show that she now had the means to commit the crime.
Okay, one thing I read from this particular section, and you are right. What about people who are learning to become a security professional and have Kali Linux installed, and they just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time? Can somebody be charged with this? I mean, yes, it's a valid point, but how I read this is that for you to have this device, you have to have it in such a way that you are required to commit offense with said device. Funny thing about intent is that you're all right. It is very subjective, but it kind of goes back to the same thing I was saying from earlier. Clock, is required of the burden of proof by the prosecutor to determine whether or not your intent was to hack the government minister, or in this case, Joanne, to hack the government minister. So
I haven't done anything.
Right now I'm trying to look for where they speak to security tools or forensic tools, or having in your possession forensic tools, because I'm wondering.
I have I have a question for a different section because
Mhm.
anyway, I'll stick here. A person who produces, distributes, or otherwise makes available, or has in his possession, right? Well, it says his, so it can't be Joanne. Joanne, you get away.
No, all laws are crafted as in your persona. So don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
his or her person. Now, the
Yeah.
funny thing with that is I could see somebody using this piece of legislation to get an ICT professional as a scapegoat. And I want to say that out publicly and loud because it has happened time and time again where somebody pays somebody, right, to hack somebody, right, because of whatever means. And nobody in this piece of island, in this part of the world, can't tell me otherwise. I know personally a young man doing some stuff online. He posted on Facebook, and I like what he did. He figured out the person's attacking him, and he say, the person X, Y, and Z in San Fernando of this IP address, please stop trying to hack me. I find that was wonderful, right? And if this law was enacted back then, one, he had the IP address, he know where the person was, what IP address, he knows that there's multiple things that could place the person at the particular point. There have enough cameras in this country. Let's hope that they're actually recording to somewhere, right? And then pass that information on to the police, and the person who actually was hacking his developer website could have been prosecuted in Trinidad and Tobago. So I move from outside the government to going inside the government now, on the government side, right? And I'm saying, if this was enacted, my friend who knew exactly what IP address, and from the IP address, you know who was the service provider. And in the same legislation, of which I want to applaud, right? Um, it says that the service provider is not liable for, you understand, persons using the internet service to do any harm or whatever the case is. But the good part is that they can then pass, if I find out you're trying to hack me and I find out your IP address, however I find out your IP address, and I could pass that to the government. The government can now pass this to the telecom providers who can say, well, yes, Joe has this service and the IP address at this time was X and Y, and yes, we can now get footage or contact the owner or the person who took out the service to figure out who had access to your system at that point, check your routers, check your cameras in the air to see if anybody was nearby, using your internet connectivity to hack somebody else.
Interesting.
Okay, so sorry, going back to point number 11 on page I think it's 8. I think the issue here is that it doesn't take into consideration people who use forensic tools as part of their jobs. So maybe it's a comment that we may need to document. I'm not too sure if the Computer Society has that down under this section, but it may be something that, I don't know, we want to pass on to them. Anybody here is documenting to send comments up the road by chance?
Nope.
Uh-huh.
We had suggested that the comments or anything be attached to the Trinidad and Tobago Computer Society, based on the fact that they are submitting something, and they have the bill laid out clearly for you to add comments to.
Okay.
Since they are already a recognized organization, you can individually submit comments, I think Lizanna was saying, through the Parliament website. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yes, you can.
All right. Well, I guess coming out to this, I guess, huh. All right. I'll mark this down as one of the comments that probably should go up the road, and I'll add it to I'll add it tomorrow to the CS let me see us to the Computer Society's page with regards to this section and forensic tools and being used by security professionals. It kind of goes against that aspect.
Yeah. Lizanne, are you still there?
Well, he should be, because he's hosting this talk. No, we're not hearing him. He's messaging in the chat. Are you hearing us, Lizanna? Yeah, so you're hearing us, but we are unable to hear you at the moment. Do you have any comments you want to submit to? You've been talking to yourself. If Lizanna and Obika have comments, I would suggest that you combine efforts possibly to send it together or separate. So I'm not sure. Since this is our first version of this, we don't exactly have a methodology of how best to take the discussion and make it effectual instead of it just being old talk.
What you could do is send it to the CS, of course, and then follow the instructions on the Parliament's website and send also a copy to that email directly. Hello?
Hello? Someone?
Yeah. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Looks like Lizanna left the group chat.
Yeah. I think he left to come back.
To rejoin.
Yeah. All right. So he's back. I assume he can hear us.
All right. Can anybody hear me? Or am I still speaking to myself?
Yeah, we could all hear you now.
Loud and clear.
Okay. All right. Well, just skip everything I was saying. I was wondering why you all keep interrupting me, but then I realized somebody was here. We'll just skip everything I wanted to say. Just to respond to you, Joe, I intend to submit my comments independently. It's all probably going to be part of what you may be aware of, and I'm still waiting for certain people. I sent a draft copy of my government systems paper, but
oh gosh, I have a lot on my plate. I have not been able to read through everything yet.
Yeah, so it's all. I'm gonna try and tie it all into basically what I'm doing is well, I write software, and software is a pain in the ass. But
we are streaming.
Yeah, well, okay, sorry, but but I have a project in case anybody's interested. Not really a project, but basically I'm trying to, I would say, advocate for our governments to be our government. Well, Trinidad and Tobago only thus far, because that's about as much as I can handle, barely even. But I'm trying to advocate for more openness in terms of how our IT systems that we come to depend on are developed. And
excellent.
So I'm going to submit those comments, and I'm probably gonna try and tie it all in together to kind of like build, over some time, a consistent amount of documents then that could be referenced, because I don't expect to be taken too seriously too early on. But one of the things I tell people about the power of the internet, the modern day we live in, is, the ability to have content and have content there that survives, so that, when the things I tell people about the power of the internet, the modern day we live in, is, the modern day we live in, is, the ability to have content and have content there that survives, so that, when the things I tell people about the power of the internet, the ability to have content and have content there that survives, so that, when the things I tell people about the power of the internet, the ability to have content and have content there that survives, so that, when the things I tell people about the power of the internet, the ability to have content and have content there that survives, so that, when the things I tell people about the power of the internet, the ability to have content and have content there that survives, so that, when the things I tell people about the power of the internet, the ability to have content and have content there that survives, so that, when the things I tell people about the power of the internet, the ability to have content and have content there that survives, so that, when the things I tell people about the power of the internet, the ability to have content and have content there that survives, so that, when the things I tell people about the power of the internet, the ability to have content and have content there that survi people coming afterwards could actually Google certain things and see it and see that they're not alone in their reasoning or their observations that they make.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's what I'm going. So everything I do, I'm going to try and put it up somewhere out there. Sorry, somewhere out there on the wide internet, LinkedIn, Medium, Facebook, wherever, my blog, wherever. So that's my agenda with regards to this bill and comments.
Okay, excellent. Well,
Well,
listen,
I can see that actually.
Sorry.
I don't mind actually taking a look at it and contributing.
Oh, sure. I could share the paper with you since the people are it's still like first part, but the people I share it with don't have the time to pay
I'm
attention.
big on reading things. Please, just summary.
You are not the only one, Joanna.
I will read it tomorrow. Okay? Tomorrow.
wow, I don't even want to ask you.
Live YouTube
I don't
boy.
even want to ask to send it to Mina because next you know we have a next call and then he's gonna throw that shade and then I gonna have to find an excuse. I don't even want to go down that hole.
We getting call out on live YouTube about not reading your thing. But we do support you though. We would definitely support you.
Lizanne,
Lasana.
Zana, tell me something. Do you think that it would be? I have to use some words very carefully and guarded.
We're
That
recording.
Yes,
that
be politically correct.
that it would be of a level of value to the public that we take these point by point and just do scenarios and then even after Friday when this is all going in and everybody can take the comments and pontificate on them after while they're doing that we pick it so a person selling and give examples real world examples of software rubber duckies and all these other things that can be used and ask persons to comment on how they see the bill affecting them using these open source things, one, and experimenting with these things on their own. So, for example, stuff like rubber duckies and these things would be addressed in part 11, and so you're recommending the quote unquote nefarious tool and the part of the bill that is addresses, and you're putting it out there for comment. What that will do, in my guesstimation, it'll fuel a further conversation on one, open source, two, the government. People say, oh snap, people actually in this piece of rock that's surrounded by water actually know about these things that can infect, take control of systems and that kind of thing. So I am just thinking that after we read your paper and whatever, if you pick parts of the bill and attach it to and mirror it and ask persons to suggest other things that are similar that can be considered harmful. And then eventually, or after that data is gathered, it can be a piece of information that is now forwarded to that same government ministry so that in future,
Yes.
I think Lizanne
Yeah, no worries.
come back. so that in future persons in the government could look at these suggestions, do their own research, and realize, well, okay, we could adjust this bill to either to give leeway but still protect the country. Yeah, that was my intention with that statement, because I think I'm assuming, I don't know enough to make a definitive decision, but I'm assuming a lot of these stuff are copied from some foreign thing, but you copy the intent, you copy the law without knowing the full intent. And I think the government will get a little bit more insight on the intent, and how easy it is for somebody to break illegal devices. And if the device is illegal, and for whatever reason I'm caught with this device, and I am not in university taking a security class, UV or USD or something like that, and then is that enough intent now? And also show the positive uses of these devices, that kind of thing. Because somehow, just reading this, I'm missing context.
Okay, so what you're basically saying is that we...
Just so I'm getting a call from Asana.
Okay. Okay, I think Joe dropped off as well.
Yeah. If she accept that call on her phone,
Yeah,
it will switch automatically. But go.
all right. I think basically what you're saying is that we need to be a little bit more practical with a lot of these, I guess, scenarios or sorry, not scenarios I'm looking for.
Case studies.
Studies, yes. We need to be a little bit more practical in terms of checking how these things or how these laws or regulations impact activities of certain individuals who are in IT. Is that what you're actually saying?
Yeah, but yes, how it involves people who are in IT, but also how it involves people who are in government, who are making policy, because a good amount of the policy makers may not necessarily know about what a rubber ducky can do, or know about the benefits of a rubber ducky, or know.
The term rubber ducky is very amusing, just in general.
Right?
Yeah.
No. I'm a rubber ducky is something you put a bathtub for kids to play with. But you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes, I understand what you're saying, and I think yes, we do have somewhat of like a social responsibility to what's the term, who watches the watchman,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, we do have that social responsibility to ensure that when these things come into pass, to check and make sure that it's actually transparent, and that what they put in place is actually, beneficial, and on top of that, ensure that there's some sort of communication with the lawmakers in terms of technology and how technology affects the lives of people.
Because I don't think, a funny thing, I remember I was in a government ministers conference room a few weeks ago.